We've got a we've got a girlfriend in our friend group, and she's 58, and she loves her husband, loves him. But we were saying, Lord, if we had to get out here and get a man, she said, okay, I think I could show somebody my left breast. She said, it still looks okay. I thought, where is my friend going to go on dates? Where do people go on dates in their 50s and 60s? Lord, I have not dated since the 80s, honey.
Welcome to Rise, and I have been anticipating this for quite some time.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, I mean, you're just like doing the dang thing everywhere. But one of the first questions that I really wanted to ask you was, you talk about your start doing jewelry parties, and you're talking about life and what happens to moms, what happens to us as women. And you described a scenario where, you're doing something right when somebody laughs and almost pees their pants. And I'm like, I'm one of those people that does that. So talk to me. Tell me, how did this fun start?
Oh, you angel. Well, I as a child, dreamed of going to Hollywood and wanted to be in Hollywood and thought, and I wouldn't tell anybody because I thought, well, I sound crazy. Nobody else is talking about Hollywood in a town of 500 people, farming community in Middle Tennessee. But I just knew it in my heart that I was going to do something in entertainment, show business. And I went up, but then, I go through teenage years and everybody's talking about going to college and all that. So I went on to college and had no intention of finishing. Honey, I chased my high school boyfriend that I weighed probably 40 more pounds than he did and went to the University of Tennessee. And then we broke up. I nagged him because he was drinking and smoking cigarettes and singing Super Freak at a fraternity house. And I was coming off the United Methodist Youth Fellowship. So anyway, he broke up with me and I just flailed around. Anyway, dropped out of school, went back to school, finished, so proud that I did it. That really helped me get back on track. And then married Chuck Morgan that I've had a bunch of kids with. And he moved me to the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. He bought a used mobile home business. And I got pregnant with my first baby, Charlie, who's about to turn 30 in a couple of weeks. Who is from heaven, I should say. And I wanted to stay home with him and nurse. But I needed money. I needed a little side hustle because I like to get my hair highlighted. And I wanted to be able to buy him an outfit, the baby, or, So my friend Allison, Leanne Allison, her name's Leanne too, in Nashville said, I'm selling this jewelry like women sell Mary Kay. Got me on it. And I don't even care about jewelry. And I started going to women's houses, and I really was not talking about jewelry. I was talking about hemorrhoids. And I resented their daddy for not hearing the baby cry in the night. And women thought I was funny. And Carmen McDonald peed on the couch one night, and I love her, and I still see her. She works at my eye doctor, and we hold each other and shake and laugh over that night. But she peed on the couch, and I swear I thought that was a God moment for me where I thought, I've got something. I can make it. Anyway, the company notice asked me to start speaking at their big things, and because I was booking like a year in advance to have these parties. And I remember saying to these women in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, I remember saying one night, well, you better book a party with me or pay to go see me in Las Vegas later. And I know they thought, what in the world is she talking about? And here I now play Vegas. Isn't that crazy? But anyway, that's how I got started. And then my husband and I moved. He sold that business, went to work for a large mobile home company. And we ended up in San Antonio. Austin was right down the road, one of the biggest comedy clubs in the United States. And I started working that club. And that's when I I called myself a real professional comedian. And good night, that was probably 22 years ago.
Wow, what a journey. So Vegas, I'm in Vegas. So next time you come, we gotta connect in person. So
Oh,
you
my darling.
yeah, okay, so you have a Chuck.
Yes.
You and I have a Jerry. And I just about fell out of my seat when I was watching the part when you were talking about being married for 20 plus years and how you were wondering if he would take you out of the burning building.
But my husband and I met, and I was so cute. And I was little, I had on little breeches, and my thyroid was functioning, and I felt good. And he was so enthralled with me and so in love with me and pursued me and bought me presents and vacuumed out my car and did all kinds of things for me. And we celebrated our 30th wedding anniversary this year. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And now I truly believe he would not pull me out of a burning vehicle.
And in my head, I was like, oh my gosh. I always imagine my Jerry, because we do a lot of traveling in the car, and he tells me he wants to push the eject button. I was like, so you have a Chuck, I have a Jerry. And Jerry always says, everybody's Team Hannah. And I'm like, we're going to call it Jana. So we got to find something to call you and Chuck, because when you talk about him, it's so funny and it's relatable and it's real stuff. Can we swear today? I don't know. Are you a...
You can, my darling. I don't, but I spell. I like to spell cuss, and I don't mind other people cussing.
Okay.
Just had a little grandmama named, we called her Big Mama, and we were not allowed to cuss. So, and she has been dead a long time, but I still feel like I can hear her. But say whatever you want to, Hen.
I was just going to say, stuff is real. And people can fill it in how they want to. But being married, traveling, being a mom, being a grandma, and I love the boundaries, by the way.
Thank you, my darling.
They don't exist.
Honey, and we're all raising those babies. Now, I mean, Lord, I'm over with, I'm not touring, I'm with those babies, and they call and we help, and they know, and they're thankful, and they're like, you're right. You are helping us raise these babies. Now I've got two. Another one's been born.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Another boy.
Wow. I am a boy grandma too. Two of them. It's incredible. And does everybody ask you, do you love your kids more than your grandkids?
They ask me you mean, do I love these grandbabies more than I do? Yes, people ask me that. And I'm in love with my kids. The grandbabies, it's just a different kind of love. You know, it's just a different kind of love. It's crazy. I mean, I am loving it.
Nothing like it.
Nothing like it.
Let's talk about big panties, big panty tour. Where did you come up with that?
Well, when they offered me this tour, which was the biggest thing that ever happened to me, because Hannah, let me go back and say, there were years I could not get arrested. Nobody cared. I went through years of, I was always working. I was a comedian in steady work, but not glamorous, you know, things were really not going well in 2018. And I thought about bowing out and just giving up. And then I said, Lord's give up, but I did. It was not going well. And you was going to have a green baby. I thought, I don't want to keep doing these gigs where I feel like I'm going to be murdered in a hotel. And I'm staying on the side of the road, and I have to get over with the man that says he's in love with me. You know, I just thought, I'm over this. I'm getting too old to be doing all this and not getting paid, you know, that well. And anyway, when they came to me and when this blew up in 2018, And they came to me Outback Concerts, and you would be in love with them, Hannah. And they said they've known me for 20-something years, and they are precious to me. They said, we want to do a tour with you, Leanne, 100 cities across the United States. What do you want to call it? And I said, well, I've been talking about my panties a lot. And I noticed, Hannah, that I was talking about little panties, big panties, how I wanted my panties to fit. There were women coming to my shows that were bringing extra panties in case something went down, they had an accident. I got a picture made with the women, and it was girl. It was so funny. It was a bunch of women in Evansville, Indiana, and she was holding up a big pair of flesh-colored panties that she got 3 in a pack from Sam's. And I just thought, we're all sitting here worried about our panties. So I said, what if I called it the Big Panty Tour? And there was a young girl on the marketing team who was probably in her 20s, and she went, oh. She goes, and she said that, that just makes me feel good to say, because when you get at home at night and put on that comfortable pair of panties, And so everybody around the table went, we love it, Leanne. All these men, all these young girls, they were like, everybody, we love it. And I said, I think I could start a movement called the Big Panty Nation. But Hannah, that didn't take off. Maybe it still can, but then the COVID hit. And then I didn't start that tour like I thought I was going to. But of course, it all worked out for the best. And then I've already finished the Big Panty Tour, 100 cities. Had a ball talking about my panties.
Talk to me, traveling, doing 100 cities, I don't know if people really understand the concept and the amount of energy required. What did that look like for you? How was it hard? Was it easy? Were you just, how do you get on stage and just be funny again and again and again?
Yeah. Well, it was hard, Hannah, and I'll tell you why it was hard. Coming out of COVID, if you remember, airlines didn't have enough people working because they had let people go. So that was the stressful part, is am I going to get there? Then or is there going to be a flight attendant, somebody come running through the airport, with a chocolate milk in her hand, trying to get on the plane. And so that was the stressful part. And then I realized I can't go in the day of show. I've got to go in the night before, which took time away from my family. But anyway, that was a stressful time. Now the airports have kind of worked that stuff out, thank the Lord, but it was very tiring, and people would say to me in the business, Leanne, you need to start training like you're in the Olympics. And I heard that, Hannah, but I did not receive it. And so I ate a lot of white flour and sugar, and I drank a lot of wine. I was on a wine thing, and then have it in my green room. I got on a big chocolate kick, and I'd really, when you don't feel good, I don't know if you do this, when I don't feel good and I have no energy, I eat worse. And I'm thinking, I'll get myself,
Yeah.
And I just did all the wrong things. So, but let me say that when I would get out there on that stage, people were so good to me, and people were so hungry for laughter because everybody was torn up and freaked out over the COVID, that everybody was so thankful to be out and about, that it was magical. And it gave me the energy to do it, because I would go out on stage and women would stand and blow kisses at me. People brought gifts. People threw panties at me like I was Tom Jones, but they would write little notes and say, these are for you and your husband. Like, Chuck, you need to wear these panties for Chuck, or these are the kind of panties I like. It was so sweet, and it kept me going. So this tour, the Just Getting Started tour, is another 100 cities, and I'm still eating some white flour and sugar, Hannah, but like today, I just had a little thing of olives to get my healthy fat, and I had a little bit of Greek yogurt this morning with berries. I'm really trying to move and do better, sleep, take care of myself, because it's a lot. It's a lot. And I've talked to some like rock stars that say it's such a grind. And I think, that's a little man that is young and hits hard on him, but it's all a blessing. I don't want to sound like it's not a blessing from heaven. It's just physically, but it's all wonderful.
Not to get too serious, but I think it's good for the audience to really hear kind of some of the behind the scenes of what it takes to do 100 cities and the type of energy, that vibe that you have to keep. So I think it's amazing that you're being so, open about it, because from the outside looking in, everyone thinks it's all about the glitz, it's all about the glamour. It's the amazing hotels, the famous people, this, that, but they don't understand what it takes behind the scenes sometimes to get to that point. It can be draining. It is a grind. It is.
It's a grind, and I don't have a private plane. And let me tell you, 50 cities into that thing, I still ain't Chuck Morgan in my head saying, you take coach, sit by the toilet. So I really tried to do everything I could, because when it first happened for me, I thought it's going to go away. And I've heard people say that when something like this happens, I thought it's going to go away. It's going to go away. I don't deserve this. I had imposter syndrome. So I lug my own luggage. I do all of that. It's not a lot of frills. We were staying in rough hotel. Now we're starting to do a little nicer. So I can sleep, and I've got nice pillows to put between my legs so that my back can stay straight. Hannah, I'm telling you way too much that you don't need to know.
I'm shaking my head because I know. It's, truth be told, hotel beds, 99.9% of the time they're awful. And I threw out my hip without having Jerry help me do it because it was so hard. So, it's a real thing that happens, so I totally can agree and understand with what you're saying. So I feel you is what I'm trying to say. I get it. You're in this tour, you're traveling the country, you're meeting an insane amount of people. What's one of the most favorite parts of all of this? Is it the behind the scenes, front of the scenes? Is that when they are throwing the panties at you? What would you say is like one of your ultimate faves of this whole thing so far?
Well, I can't do a lot of meet and greets. I can't have everybody, but certain things will come through emails or, somebody going through something bad, and they'll say, can my mom meet Leanne? And, they've been through chemo or something like that. And that's been the sweetest thing. The comments and getting to meet people backstage and hearing, and afterwards when they say, like we put a picture up and they go, oh my gosh, Leanne, I needed that laugh. All of that emotional, the things that people have said to me has been so overwhelming and such a blessing to me. But I went through a weird thing where I thought, I'm not worthy of this, because these precious women, but okay, Hannah, I'm getting this, I'm getting around, but I think that I have hit a niche, a lane that nobody was in. And I think that these women are so grateful that somebody's speaking to them in comedy, because you think about, there's unbelievable comedians out there, but there's nobody talking to normal, everyday women in the middle of the United States. There's a lot of female comedians that are, East Coast, West Coast, kind of Hollywood, but not women actually cooking, cleaning, driving kids to school, having a grandbaby, talking about having a grandbaby. And so I have hit this niche, and these women, and what they say to me, like, you could be my best friend. We could sit on the porch and talk for the rest of our lives. You're like a sister. You're like an aunt. You're like a mother or whatever. That has been the sweetest part. And when I get to meet women in person, if they see me come out of the theater door or whatever, they run to me and we hug. And it's not like, oh, Leanne's like Mariah Carey. It's not that. It's more like, hey, girl, hey, friend. Oh, let me hug you. Like we have been long lost friends. That's what it feels like. That's been the sweetest part of this whole thing.
So the connection. So do you ever get nervous anymore when you're going out there and in the public eye, or are you just like, you're ready to go?
I do a little bit, like if I haven't been on stage, because I just took 3 weeks off in July. And last night, I had my first show in a long time where I had an hour, I did a whole show. And I thought, oh no, I hope I can remember what in the world I'm saying. But the wonderful thing, and I feel like I'm almost cheating. I go out there and go, I don't know what I'm saying. And women throw their purse in there. And they just don't care. And they want to see me win, Hannah. And it's just so sweet. So I don't get as nervous about that kind of, shows, actual live shows. But I just shot a movie.
I
You
heard.
know,
Yeah, let's talk about that since you brought it up.
and honey, that scared me to death. You told her about the nerves because I didn't know anything about angles or, oh, we're going to do this shot or we're going to do, I didn't know that you go and there's a piece of tape on the floor and you go and stand on that and say a line. I didn't know anything. So that kind of new thing makes me really nervous if I'm trying something new at 57 years old. But I had a ball, but I was nervous and I thought, can I remember a line? What in the world am I saying? You know, I'm in menopause. I'm brain fog. I'm trying to take my vitamin D and a good probiotic, but I just think, what am I saying? So that was nerve wracking, but a joy, an absolute joy, and I cannot wait for you to see it. I think it's going to be hilarious, and I don't know when it'll come out. It'll probably be about a year, and it's called "You're Cordially Invited," and it's with Reese Witherspoon and Will Ferrell.
Two of my faves. I love Reese. I feel like she exactly how we all see her on screen. I feel like that's exactly how she is off screen.
She is. I can honestly say, yes, darling, down to earth to be Reese Witherspoon, very down to earth and a friend. And I told my kids when it was over, I said, Reese Witherspoon asks a question and then listens. You know, so many people talk over people now. She listens and looks you in the eye and wants to know what you're saying.
Powerful stuff. What a blessing. So you're done.
We read
Where-
before all that rigmarole started happening before the actors went on strike. All in the writers, the script was written before that. So yeah, very lucky they got done before all that hoopla.
Well, we are really, really hoping that there's some type of an agreement and that it's fair. And, you hate seeing stuff like that. It affects so many people and the tough spot. So where are you currently? I know you're not home. I know you're traveling. So where are you at right now?
I'm in Chesterfield, Missouri, outside of St. Louis. And I've got one more show tonight. And we had one last night. We had a ball. And then I drive to Louisville, Kentucky for 3 shows, Saturday and Sunday. And then next week, I'm going to Durham, North Carolina, and Richmond, Virginia, and then I go to L.A. My August is a book, and I'm going to be going and doing out in L.A. and then in interviews and that kind of stuff. And then, but I'm on the road. When I got the movie, they moved a lot of my spring dates to the fall so that I could do the movie. So, honey, it's on. I am throwing panties in a suitcase. I'll be on for one day, wash those panties, throw them back in the suitcase with a full-length Spanx. But it's almost like a uniform. I have the same things I take every time, and then I just put in different dresses.
See, Spanx are like amazing. They do so many magical things. They're like miracle workers.
They are.
They really are.
What would we do without a Spanx? And
I don't know.
I don't have anything to do with Spanx, but aren't they? They've now got pants. They've got jeans. Oh my gosh. I love a Spanx. I love any kind of tight panty, girdle, minimizing bra. Whew.
We need to find one for my neck. Just a thought.
Could you, Hannah, come up with some, dude?
I'm going to put it to the team. We'll work on that and see where that leads. Maybe we'll have this conversation a year from now. When you talk about the tour, the big panty tour, my mind kind of it's funny, right? All these different everything you say is funny, but in my head, I'm thinking, big panties are a thing, right? But also women have this, well, at least I do, and I'm about to bear and share it. Hopefully I get fired. But, I hate bras, right? And we have to walk around with them all day, and I don't even know why. It's like, who invented that? And so I have like this ritual, like at the end of the day, it comes off and I'm like flinging it like, yay, baby. And that thing goes across the room. And my husband's like, really, babe? Again? And so I'm like, that's a thing too. It's a thing, you know, like big panties are a thing, bras are a thing. Like there's so many things that we as women have to go through and people don't understand it.
I know. There's nothing worse than an underwater.
No.
Lord, I don't wear them every day, but if I'm on stage, I try to wear them. They wanted me to wear it in the movie. I had wonderful wardrobe people that taught me a lot about the underpinnings, as we say in the South. And, yeah, but you're right. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them.
Yeah, it's like they're overrated. So
there are some comfortable ones out there. There are some, if you into, there's some comfortable ones out there.
So what is next for you? I know you have this book coming out sometime next year. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yes, okay. I always thought I had a book in me, and I got the most precious literary agent who is so darling. And he said to me, at first when I was writing, I was putting out everything that horrible sin, every horrible thing that ever happened to me. And he goes, you know what, girl, you're not Joan Crawford yet. He goes, why don't we start out with a funny essay? Like some funny essays, lighten the load. You can, introduce you to the world. And I was like, oh, okay. He goes, you can tell your sin later. So this one is funny essays, and I'm calling it What in the World, because every day I go, what in the world? This is happening to me. It is crazy. So it's that, and I'm working on it, and I've had a ball working on it. And then that will come out next year. And they tell me we'll probably do a third tour called What in the World Tour. We're still trying to figure that out, if that's what we want to call it. And I'll probably shoot another special, next year. And me on Netflix, honey, that was a What in the World. I thought Netflix isn't going to have a middle-aged woman with the grandbaby on Netflix. And I think they chose me because they didn't have a middle-aged woman with a grandbaby from Tennessee on there. But they have been wonderful to me and have lifted me up, and they want to do more with me. So I would like to do, my dream was to be a sitcom star. When I got started, I'm the age that, I grew up watching all the wonderful sitcoms. And so that's something I would like to do. But I tell you, I like making that movie, and maybe I can make another movie.
I definitely think that that's going to happen. I don't even think it's a question, to be honest. I mean, you're aligning with so many incredible people that how could it not? Plus, you mentioned it earlier. We just came out of this pandemic. People are looking for laughter, and everything that you talk about is so funny. How could we not see another movie with you in it?
You angel.
I mean, I just would be shocked if it didn't happen. So you recently performed at the Just for Laughs Festival, and I saw these photos that you posted with comedians like Mark Norman, Fortune Feinster, Bert Kreischer, and it looks like you were just having a blast. Is there any one comedian that just blew your mind or left like this lasting impression that you are never going to forget?
Oh, I love all of them. I'm a huge fan of Mark Norman and Fortune Feinster and Bert, and Tom Papa was there, and I love my Tom Papa. There are so many. I grew up loving Jay Leno. Roseanne blew me away when she was on Johnny Carson that first time. She blew me away. I love Kevin Meaney. I mean, I could go through a million. Loved Joan Rivers. Loved all those. David Letterman, Johnny Carson. Loved all them. I love everybody. I'm a big fan of Dave Chappelle. I would love to meet Dave Chappelle, but Bill Burr, loved him. But I'm a big fan of stand-up. And so there's not, I don't know that there's anybody that I'm like, I don't care about or they did not thrill me. And I don't, just because, I'm clean, I don't mind. I love watching Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle, other comedians that are blue. That does not bother me one bit. I love all of it. But yeah, the Just for Laughs, I feel like I could have birthed half the people that were there. Everybody was very young. Yep. And then I get up there, with the girdle on and a sensible shoe. And I thought, did I get an interpreter for the French Canadian people that are here? Are they going to know what in the world I'm saying? But I did. I had a ball. And Neil Brennan, oh my gosh, there was a picture of me and Neil Brennan. Neil Brennan kills me. Kills me. I watched him do an hour and he blew me away brilliant. I looked at him and I thought, oh, should I be doing comedy? I mean, he was one of those people that's so smart. I was like, oh, and I'm talking about my penis. But I think Neil likes to hear about my panties too. I think I could say that.
So you rocked the stage in sensible shoes and a girdle, knocked it out of the park, and you're blown away by these other comedians. I mean, what a life. What a life. You are blessed. You are blessed.
Thank you, my daughter. Thank you.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. Honey, I cannot believe it. Every day I cannot believe it.
It's an incredible journey for sure. And we wish you the absolute best. And thank you so much for joining me today and making my heart smile. I knew this was going to be incredible. I had no doubt. I can't wait to see what is next for you. Congratulations.
Thank you, Helen. Thank you, my darling. I received that. Thank you. And I will be in Las Vegas, and anything you want to go to, I'll be in there next year.
Awesome.
Early next year. Okay.
I can't wait for you to get here. I really, and I mean that. I will be there.
Okay.
I will be there. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank y'all so much. I've had a ball.